friends, Christy here over at Crafty Christy's Creations, and today we're going to go through the remainder of putting together a larger than mat size vinyl project. I will link to the previous one where I showed you how I did the tiling in Silhouette Studio, and then this is the result. I cut each one, I went and selected each mat individually because when I tried to just let it do all of them, it cut them all on the same mat. So it just kind of cut over the design again and again, so that didn't work. So you pick which mat you want to cut first, do that one, unload, reload, put in the next one, and choose how you want to do that. I have 12 pieces here. Some of them I was able to cut down to about a 6x8 piece to get some of these bottom pieces and some of these sides, so I wasn't wasting more vinyl than I needed to. And then when I was done, I just put a number on the back of the vinyl piece so I know where it is on the grid. And then I've got on my computer behind me, I've got it pulled up so I knew kind of where things were. I am able to see the cut lines a little bit, so I kind of laid them out how I think this is supposed to go together, and then also referencing the computer so I know as I'm weeding what pieces I need to weed out and what I need to say. So I'm going to go ahead and start weeding, and then we'll get it hung up. Okay, we've got everything weeded, and now I'm going to do some transfer tape. I'm only going to start with the kind of first row, so 1 through 4, and then I'll get those kind of put on the wall and then reuse my transfer tape moving from there. If this design was more connected and I didn't have a lot of gaps in between, like, I know it's kind of hard to see, but if I didn't have all these holes in here, I probably could just peel this off and then just stick it on there. Like, this is one big solid piece, so that one wouldn't be too hard to do, but some of these have multiple chunks on them and I want to make sure they're in the right place. So I'm going to go ahead and use the transfer tape. So I've got them kind of in order, and I'm going to try to use the least amount of transfer tape possible, so that way we get the most bang for our buck. Here. And I will link all of my supplies below. This is my favorite transfer tape because it's kind of like masking tape type of material. It just makes it really easy. You can see through it pretty well. Which way did I decide we're going? This direction? Okay. I like to kind of just peel one corner and then lay it on here where I want it. I'm going to make the transfer tape, kind of go over the edge just a little bit so I don't miss any. I'm going to come in here with my scraper tool. I have noticed that this reusable vinyl, it sticks pretty good. It doesn't have a problem as I was weeding it. Nothing really wants to come off of it. You know, like if you get an extra piece on your normal vinyl, while you're weeding it, it wants to pick everything up, but this one's like not super tacky, so it didn't try to pick up the extra pieces, which was kind of nice. It made it a lot easier. I'm just trying to get all the bubbles out, make sure this is good. I want it to go flat on my surface. Okay, so that is my number 1. I'm just going to set it aside. Like I said, we're just going to do the first 4. So this is number 2. And then I'm kind of just trying to lay them in the direction that I know that they're gonna be. Just kind of, now that it's weeded, it's a lot easier for me to tell where things are gonna sit. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of measure this out a little bit. Completely done on transfer tape. We're going to go ahead and head in to the correct wall, and I'll show you the rest from there. Okay, so here we are in the bedroom. I've got a king size bed, 64 inches wide, so the middle of my drawing needs to be at 32 inches. So what I'm going to do is just kind of measure from the edge of the bed, 32 inches in, so I know that's the center. I went ahead and clipped a couple little pieces of the removable vinyl, and then I can kind of use that to mark my edges and my center, so that way I can kind of get everything in the right place. Let me just cut one more little chunk here so I have center. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start measuring. I have an electrical outlet right here, and I'm gonna use that kind of as my starting point, because I know my bed's always on this side of the electric outlet. So I've got my step stool here behind the bed, and the bed's kind of this tall. I'm gonna have my painting kind of up here. Probably start about here. Should be kind of at eye level. So this is all just kind of eyeball here, but here is 32 inches. So knowing this is about my 32 inch mark, I'm going to go ahead and just put a little placeholder right there. And then that, I know that is my center. And then let's go ahead and we know ours is also 31 inches tall. So then if I look at where that's going to be, if I start the bottom right here, that's how tall it's going to be, which is good. I like that. So I'm going to actually just make this marker up here as well. Okay, so now I know that's kind of the middle, top and bottom. And we're actually just going to work from there. I just put up the 2 markers, and I'm going to start in the middle. So I'm going to start with a number 3 will be on this side, and then, will be on, this side, and then number 2 will be on that side, so that way they meet right kind of on that mark. I've got my first 4 here, and like I said, it's a good thing I have them labeled, 1, 2. So I can do number 2 on this side, and then I'll start at the top, so we can do that, and then number 3 will go right next to it. And the nice thing is, because it's removable, if it gets messed up, we can start over. So I'm just gonna jump up here and get this one going. And that ripped. This one looks pretty, there's a lot of wrinkles in my transfer tape, and there's also a lot of wrinkles in the actual vinyl. I think just because it's so less tacky. Even as I was cutting it to put it on my mat, I noticed there were a lot of wrinkles. I used my scraper tool a lot just to get it put on the mat. And even now, it's not really picking it up very well. But this transfer tape is also not super high tack, which makes it good for putting on walls because I don't want the transfer tape to rip all my paint off either. And that piece ripped right there, so I need to be a lot more careful as I pull this off of here. This is a pretty delicate design, but you can see I've got lots of wrinkles, but that's okay because I can peel it back up once I get it laid down and then get it kind of going better in the correct direction. So now just kind of holding this and looking, I know this needs to go this direction. Now I'm going to go kind of in the middle of my spot here and just try to start laying this down. I know there's going to be wrinkles. I'll get those out next. I've got my scraper tool here. All right, we'll peel this. Okay, so that was really hard to do. It's not tacked down very well. So I don't think the transfer tape is a great plan. I'm gonna go ahead and just try to smooth this out some. I think the transfer tape was a bad idea. This is really hard to do. The scraper's probably a little too rough, so I'm better off just using my hand to kind of smooth things out. There's a little bit of texture on the walls, so you know, it doesn't lay perfectly flat, so it had some wrinkles, had to really work those out. But I am gonna just kind of carry on and we'll see what the finished product looks like. Well, my crafty friends, there you have it. It is not centered on my bed. and it took me a lot longer than I thought it would. If I ever do this again, definitely gonna start along the bottom where I have a straight line and then work my way up from there. I'm using the Cricut reusable vinyl. It was pretty thin and I had to recut a couple pieces because they kept ripping. So yeah, I would make some changes the next time, but totally worth it, and I'm really glad I did it.